We live in an ecosystem that rewards noise. Every day, the world demands that we broadcast our opinions, defend our actions, and instantly fire back at every provocation. We internalize a specific myth to survive in this environment. We are taught that raising our voice, dominating the conversation, and fighting to have the last word are the ultimate markers of strength. But every time we step into that arena, we pay a hidden psychological tax. By engaging with an insult, you surrender your mental composure to someone else's lack of self-control. To understand the alternative, we have to look to ancient Rome. This was a society built entirely on ruthless conquest and public dominance. Yet it was here that the greatest minds of the era discovered a strange truth about human conflict. They realized calculated, deliberate silence exerts a more permanent form of control than winning any debate. Take Epictetus. He was born into slavery in the 1st century. He had no legal rights, no property, and absolutely no autonomy over his own physical body. This diagram illustrates his core survival mechanism, known as the dichotomy of control. It ruthlessly separates the entire world into two categories: the internal things we control, like our thoughts and reactions, and the external things we do not. His master, a man known for his cruelty, once decided to test this philosophy. He took Epictetus's leg and began twisting it, applying more and more pressure until the bone finally snapped. Epictetus didn't scream, he didn't beg, and he offered no argument. He simply observed the action and calmly noted that the leg was going to break before it did. By refusing to give his tormentor the reaction he craved, Epictetus proved his point. External forces can destroy the physical body, but they cannot breach the walls of your own mind. This same principle was weaponized at the highest levels of government. The Roman Senate was an arena defined by aggressive political combat, public posturing, and massive egos. It was here that a politician named Cato the Younger faced off against Julius Caesar. Caesar had incredible wealth and military might. Cato had nothing but his strict principles. Whenever they clashed, Cato deployed a highly specific tactic. He would state his position clearly, exactly once. As Caesar exploded into rage and demanded a fight, Cato would fall completely silent. Every argument is essentially a transaction. It requires two participants to validate the conflict. When Cato refused to engage, he starved his opponent of the very oxygen needed to keep the fight alive. Caesar was left shouting into a void. By withholding his reaction, an outgunned senator stripped the power dynamic away from the most dangerous man in Rome. Then there is Marcus Aurelius. As emperor, he sat at the peak of the global hierarchy, possessing the absolute authority to execute anyone who dared to insult him. Yet historical accounts reveal a strange fact about his reign. In a senate filled with detractors and political rivals, he never once raised his voice. Marcus operated from a different perspective. When peers insulted him, he didn't see a threat to his authority. He saw unhappy people broadcasting their own ignorance and internal suffering. Marcus calculated the cost of conflict in time, the one resource even an emperor cannot replenish. Every minute spent defending his pride against a petty critic was a minute stolen from the governance of millions. True authority resides in the self-mastery required to ignore provocations, rendering them powerless by treating them as beneath your notice. Stoic silence is a highly disciplined, active form of self-governance. It demands far more strength to remain quiet than to follow the impulse to argue. Modern biology explains exactly why this works. When you are provoked, your brain's threat detection center fires off an alarm, long before your rational mind can even process what happened. This is where we must construct what the Stoics called the pause. It is a deliberate, manufactured pocket of space inserted right between a stimulus landing and a response being launched. By forcing that pause, you buy your rational mind the crucial seconds it needs to boot up and override your biological reflexes. It immediately neutralizes the urge to fire back. So the next time a provocation arrives, recognize it for what it is. You have the absolute power to simply watch the insult land, calculate its irrelevance, and remain completely unmoved. The deepest waters make the least noise. By refusing to argue, you secure an inner peace that the outside world can never touch.